Sony camera users have had a pretty big problem for the past couple of years, and it has to do with our battery life. When you look at the camera's battery life and you compare it to something like Fujifilm or Canon or Olympus or anyone else out there, it's pretty dismal. So the alternative has been you buy a Sony camera and you carry around a ton of batteries. Now, that's not always such a great solution, and here are a couple of tips on how you can actually get better battery life out of your Sony camera. So the first tip, dim the screen. Your camera's LCD screen or viewfinder don't need to be that bright. And typically, Sony sets the LCD screen and the viewfinder to a manual setting. If you go into the menus, you can choose that, or you can choose sunny weather, which makes everything really super bright. Not all of us, though, need the screen to be the brightest that it possibly can be. So you can save a lot of battery life by actually just dimming the screen overall. Compare the screen usage on mirrorless cameras to what a DSLR offers. DSLRs have optical viewfinders, which means that their viewfinder isn't using any sort of battery life. It's not a screen, it's just simply going from your eye through the pentaprism, the mirror, and whatever it can see through the lens. But mirrorless cameras don't have that. It projects an image onto a viewfinder, and then it also projects it onto the LCD screen if you have the setting set to be that way. Dimming the screen saves a lot of battery life. It's similar to trying to dim the screen on your phone. That's the first tip, but that's not actually going to save you enough battery life overall. My next tip to saving battery life on your Sony camera, use airplane mode. Yes, Sony cameras actually have an airplane mode, in the same way that your phone has an airplane mode. What airplane mode does is basically cuts off all scanning of Wi-Fi activities whatsoever, so that it can't connect to the Sony Play Memory Store or somewhere else like that. If you cut this off, you're going to save a lot of battery life overall. Next tip, take the batteries out when the camera isn't in use. If you're a videographer, you're probably really used to doing this, but photographers aren't really that used to it. Lots of videographers, what they do is they take their camera, they put it in their camera bag, and then they put the lens in one area, they put the batteries in another area, the microphones in another area, your lights in another area. Photographers just tend to put everything into the bag and then go on about their day. But in order to actually ensure that the battery life doesn't get drained, you might want to take the battery out of the camera so it has no battery drain to begin with. Just try it. I know it sounds crazy, but it'll work. Now here's another really big tip. Manual focus point selection. Think about this. When your camera is set to the wide autofocus setting or the area autofocus setting, it's going to sit there, analyze the entire scene or the scene that you've selected, and really try to pick a focusing point in that entire scene. It also slows the camera down. But if you select a very specific focusing point, then the camera's really honing in on just that one point, and therefore using less battery life overall. Just try it. I mean, go to a wedding and try to shoot in the wide focusing area, and you'll see just how many misfocuses there are, and you're just going to have to sit there and constantly tap the button and hope that you're going to get something in focus, or that the camera's going to get exactly what you want in focus. Instead, telling the camera what you want in focus, and then telling the camera to focus on that one specific thing, actually saves battery life because you're working together with the camera to ensure that the autofocus just works. Next up, use faster memory cards. When your camera uses a slower memory card, it then takes a longer period of time to write to that memory card, which means that the processor is doing more work for a longer period of time. When the camera is using a faster memory card, though, then the processor takes a shorter amount of time to write the image to the card. So in that case, then, it's also then doing a lot less work over a shorter period of time. So in order to get more battery life out of your Sony camera, try working with faster memory cards. It will help in some way or another. And my last quick bonus tip has to do with high ISOs. Your camera actually uses more energy the higher an ISO that it tends to go. But the lower ISOs, it's not using as much energy. Part of this has to do with the way that the processor is working with the image to probably tone down the noise or something like that. So if you want to save battery life, try shooting at a lower ISO. What are your tips? If you're a Sony camera user, we'd love to know what you are doing to actually try to ensure that your camera gets the most bang for its battery. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Let us know in the comments down below, and thanks a lot. Have a good one.